Mr. Curtigraham, number 12. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've had a nice, relaxing weekend. Gem and I went away on our baby moon. We just went down the peninsula for a couple of days and just max relaxed. Some time on the beach. Got a little bit of sunburn, which is good. My first sunburn of the summer, actually. It's not a good summer unless you get at least a little bit pink. What have you been up to?
Yeah, same kind of thing actually. Cara and I had our first kind of weekend off. We shot a wedding on Friday, and then we decided to have the weekend off, and we went to the beach, and the second we hit the sand, it started pissing down rain. So and it was like torrential. So we just ran back to the car, soaking wet, and then just ended up having a bit of a movie weekend. So.
Yeah, nice. Did you guys have just an Airbnb or something?
No, we just came back home, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was
nice.
like we went down to the beach and then, yeah, we just come back home. It's chill.
Beautiful. Nice. Okay, and what have you been shooting the last week or so?
I actually shot my first stint of the NRL for Fox Sports. So
cool.
We did the Warriors, and then it was all inside at Suncorp Stadium. So we did Warriors, and then the next day was the Broncos. So it was good because we were just able to keep the same setup, exact same lighting, everything, and just rock up the next day without having to set up. So
perfect.
It was good.
Perfect. Was it like another media day type thing, but just for the other teams?
Yeah, exactly. So this year I've been contracted for Fox Sports to cover all the NRL teams. So it's all just media day. Like we did the Broncos, the Broncos club media day the week before. So it was kind of like we just duplicated, the all similar setup. I changed the lighting setup so it would be different for the client. And so we had the Broncos one the week before, so then we saw the boys again the next week. So I feel like seeing them again that second week, we were able to pull more energy out of them.
Yeah.
And so it was more beneficial for Fox because they were already knew what they were doing, and we'd done the same stuff the week before. So but again, it's just for like all their player graphics and media advertising or whatever it is. So it wasn't any on the field or anything like that, but I do actually get them to run. So I'll lay down, the paper roll to be maybe 5 to 10 meters in length, so then they can actually run and hit speed. So I can catch them, full activation of muscles, and like it's almost like they're on field. So it's that real high energy. I'm not sure if any other or Getty or any of those guys really do that. And I don't know why I started doing it, but I just started getting them to run, and they were the shots just look cool because they're just super high energy, and when they mash them up with other player graphics, it's just a bit more like something more to look at, I think.
Yeah, and the client likes it as well.
Yeah, they're frothing.
Yeah, I was going to ask actually. Do you do the Broncos obviously quite a lot? Do you now have a better relationship with the players than when you started, or is it still you come in and you're just like Kurt the camera guy, or is it like, hey, I can't name any Broncos players, but is it like, hey, like you develop a bit of a bond? Yeah.
I feel like there are definitely a couple of players in the team that I have that bond with now that is probably outside just the standard media days and photo stuff that we do. A couple of them I played golf with, so it was kind of cool just to I guess play golf and not talk about footy. You know what I mean? Because they're surrounded by it their whole life. Whereas like off season, me and a couple of the boys went out and played golf, and it was good just to actually hang out with them as a human being rather than just this footy star or celebrity. It was more just like, hey, we're playing golf, and I guess golf is like a sport where you can just play with anyone, and have a good time. So
that's so good, because it's, yeah, I mean, that's where a real relationship is developed. You know, I'm not sure, you've probably never had a proper job, but have you ever had to go to like a work Christmas party, and it's kind of shitty because the only thing that you have to talk about with all those people is work? And like, I remember, well, even this year, I suppose, we had like a big Christmas party. We're in a building with like, 100 other businesses. We're in like a big co-working space. We've got a studio, we've got a kitchen, whatever, but there's 120 businesses under the same roof. And I remember going to the Christmas party, not that it's ever as awkward as you think, but I remember thinking, I can't wait to ask every single person, what are they getting up to? Are you going away over summer? Because, I mean, what do you have in common apart from the fact that you guys are in the same building? So it's so cool that you guys can take it outside of the workplace and take it outside of footy, as you said. That's really cool.
Yeah, but like, because we spend a lot of time with the players, everyone else who probably I don't have that connection with, they wouldn't know my name, they don't know anything. Whereas over the last couple of years, there have been players like Alex Glenn, who was the captain, who retired last year, and he was just so inviting, call me by my first name, give me a big hug when he saw me, and like was genuinely interested in me as a person, so I think that was really when he retired last year, I actually there was a lot of emotion even for me, and I wasn't even playing, but I guess you meet people in whatever industry you work in, and there's always going to be someone that kind of I guess you'd want to spend more time with. But traditionally, like when I was working in engineering, there weren't too many guys that I would, they were always older, and I probably wouldn't spend much time with them, especially back then when I was like 20 or whatever. All I wanted to do was surf on the weekends, and you're not going to have that conversation, typically with like a 50-year-old man,
Yeah, for sure.
Again, different industries. So that's why photography is cool as well, because you do meet, you can work with athletes that are 18, or you can work with, high business profile people that are 50 years old.
This transitions well into the stuff that I want to talk about for this session, but before we get into that, I just want to perhaps start by saying, how much did it mean to you? What did you say the guy's name was? Glenn something?
Alex Glenn, yeah. Alex
Glenn, yeah. How much did it mean to you that someone like that, especially being the captain and a role model to the other players, that he actually took the time to remember your name and address you by your name and treat you like, essentially part of the team? How much did that mean to you?
Yeah, it meant everything,
Yeah.
And I think it also, again, it's like, I was treated like family. So, it's the same when I shot your wedding, everyone treated me like family. And I think that, for me, it's just like this overwhelming feeling that, A, you're welcome, B, you feel like family, and then, I don't know, I just think it's just, it's a great feeling.
Because I think we can take that feeling, and I think we can apply it as well the reverse way. There's a classic book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Have you heard of that one before?
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's this really funny little book. It was written literally 100 years ago. I'm pretty sure it was written in like the 20s or the 30s or something. And it's super daggy, but all the examples don't hold up. They talk about social situations that just don't occur anymore. It's like super kind of cute in that way. But all of the messages are just, truer than ever if you read it in 2022. And one of the big takeaways that I got from that book was, there's nothing that a person likes hearing more than the sound of their own name. And I don't mean that in like we all have big egos, but like if someone gives you if someone honors you by making the time and making the effort basically to learn your name and use your name, it does make you feel special. And that's why, well, I actually pride myself on generally being very good at remembering names and using people's names. And I think it's something really easy we can do. What I really want to talk about today is what things that we do, or, you know, the ways that we can get the best out of a person. Because I've been thinking this week, and I think people that come to get photographed by us, they kind of have this perception that a photographer can look at someone immediately and know how to shoot them. Like, someone can walk in front of the camera and your eye as a photographer is, you already know what that person's best angle is. And I think all photographers pretend that they have that, but I don't think anyone actually does really have that. I think we sort of learn tricks to work out what a good angle is for that person. Let's dive into that a little bit. Straight off the bat, what would you do? You've never met me before. I'm a new client. I want to get some portraits done for my website. I'm a draftsman. I sit down in front of the camera. What do you do, not knowing me, having not met me, to get the best photo of me?
Yeah. So I think this is for portraiture 100%. I think that, like, you really have to, within that first 30 seconds, really try and make a connection with the person. And that's why I feel a lot of the times when Cara and I shoot weddings, it's so good having Cara take control, because the bride will feel more comfortable talking to her in general, you know, because it's the female to female kind of connection there. Whereas, like, you know, if I'm going to say something, it probably just, it won't be the right thing. So if I've just met someone, you know, I'd probably try and ask them, you know, how their weekend was, or just start some kind of conversation to get them to open up to, I guess, you know, tell me a little bit about themselves, you know.
Because really, sorry, go on, mate.
And then you actually, even by that first couple of sentences, you can kind of usually tell what kind of person they are, whether they're reserved or they're a bit more outgoing, and then you can just let them kind of steer, you know, the direction from there, I think. Yeah.
Because really what we're trying to do, in my opinion, maybe this is simplifying it a bit too much, but I think really what we're trying to do is we're trying to make someone vulnerable enough to give us a look that we want, right? So you can tell someone to smile, and you can tell someone to squint their eyes, and you can tell someone to tilt their head, but you can't actually fake that real moment that is what we're trying to get. And you have to be open, especially for a normal person who's not usually in front of a camera. It's actually very daunting. I don't know, have you ever sat down with another photographer and actually had your portrait taken, like had a proper portrait session? It's actually not as easy as it looks.
No, I had one kind of thing where it was a bunch of photographers, and we all had to, I guess we had 5 minutes to get a portrait of each other and try and get, you know, the expressions. And I remember the teacher was you know, just saying this really lame stuff, and I was just like, it was years ago, where I was just, obviously I thought that I knew more than this teacher, but anyway, it was like, you know, she was saying just stuff like, oh, what's the smelliest poo you've ever done, or something like that, and I was just like, we're adults here, what is happening? But then it was like, the moment that she was capturing was actually not that moment, but the moment after, where, you know, maybe they're a bit more confused about what just happened, or they might burst into laughter. You know, it's like getting that emotion. And, you know, I'll remember, I will never use that technique, but like not in that way, but, you know, in a different way. So I think I really envy, you know, when I see a good portrait, I'm really just blown away, being like, holy, like someone really captured this person, or at least the way they wanted them to be portrayed, right? I feel like I'm better at capturing more natural movement, you know, so whether it be to talk someone through something or get them to tell a story, and then that's kind of it. Whereas I feel like some people, I don't know, they just really nail, the people who do good portraiture every single day. It's a talent.
I had one time I was up in Brisbane and I was on a little tour and I had half a day. I think I flew up and I met the band there. Not that I'm some big rock star. I think I just couldn't make the journey up, whatever. And I'm happy to miss a Melbourne to Brisbane drive. But I had some time at the start of the day and I booked a session. You remember Caitlin Boland, KTB?
Yeah.
Yep. Booked a session with Caitlin. She had a little studio set up in her garage. And I was like, for my website and stuff, I want someone else to take my picture. I want to get some really good professional shots done. And she's really good at portraits. I mean, that's, as far as I know, that's what she does, right? She does her burlesque and her makeup and all that stuff. And she's really got that nailed down. And she took I just gave her complete creative control. I didn't really give her a brief of any sorts. I just said, I love what you do. I'd love you to take my picture. And I actually learned a whole lot from that experience, but not in the way that you would think, not in the way that I learned the way that she would light someone and what her setup looked like and the way she would direct. It gave me a really good insight as to what it's like as a client, because she did everything right and the photos she took of me were great, but pretty much all of the photos afterwards, not that I was disappointed. I wasn't disappointed with them. She did a fantastic job. Like genuinely, like I can't say enough good words about Caitlin, but the afterwards looking through them, the way her lighting was, it was the side of my face that I don't like as much as the other one. I think naturally everyone has a side that they prefer. And there's absolutely no way that Caitlin could have known that if I didn't tell that to her, because I wasn't looking at 100%. The photos as she was taking them. She wasn't shooting tethered. She was just on the camera. And that's 100% not her fault. That's my fault. And I didn't even know that at the time, to be honest. I didn't even know that was my non-preferred side. But looking at them afterwards, that was the observation that I made. And that was a really, really valuable lesson for me as a photographer, because I couldn't help but think, how many times might I have done that? Or how many people would be too polite to say, actually, I prefer this side? Or how many people just have no idea? So one thing that I think every time I shoot someone, I basically start off, I do try and get them comfortable. I do, it is really important that I use their name repeatedly. And I think the most valuable thing that I can do if I've got a new person in front of my camera is explain to them, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to shoot you from this side. I'm going to shoot you straight on. I'm going to shoot you from this side. Let's just do 5 or 10 shots of each just to get warmed up. And then we're going to look through them together and you're going to tell me which you like out of those 3. I understand that sometimes you don't get that luxury. For example, if you've got players coming in and out, you've got 60 seconds with each player to get 10 different looks. That's a bit of a different story. But if I have time with the person, if I have, at least 5 minutes or something, I try and really quickly get that out of the way, because I think that is something so small that can make such a big difference. And like I said, there's no way that I could know, there's no way that Caitlin could have known, because she sees, a beautiful photo of me because that's the way she sees me, right? When I look at you, I see you in 3D. I see all sides of your face. Whereas when you look at pictures of yourself, the pictures online that you post of yourself are probably an angle that you find flattering, that you find looks
front
good.
On.
Yeah. Is that what you like? You like front on?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you obviously see yourself. This is the only way I see myself, is like directly front on. Maybe a little bit here, maybe a little bit there, but you're right. Like, sometimes I see some from side on, and I'm like, holy, that's what I look like from the side, which is I never see.
Yeah, and it's funny because the left side of my face, when I see it in photos, for some reason, to me it looks not symmetrical, or it looks wonky or something. That there's not even anything about it that I can point out that I don't like. It just doesn't look right. Whereas someone else would see that photo and they would not see any of that stuff. They wouldn't point out anything to them. That's how I look, because they see me from all sides, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, that came as a bit of a revelation to me, and I think that's something really important. And it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I feel like if you can, once you start to build that connection with someone, and once they are on board with this process, it becomes like a collaborative process. And they also, I think, loosen up and let the guard down a little bit, because they realize that, okay, we're in this together and we both want the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like someone sits down in front of your camera and you can tell they're uncomfortable, and the way it feels is they're uncomfortable because it's all on you to get a photo of them that they like. But it's like, if you're both on the same page, it's like, well, yeah, it's like, okay, well, we're not going to stop until you have a photo that you like.
Yeah.
Using someone's name, getting someone to pick a side.
I would even say, I think, well, for the fashion stuff that I do, I will literally get the model to select a playlist. So it's like the music that they listen to, which kind of gets them also in the mood, you know. Not that I'm doing crazy fashion stuff, but it's just, if you're going to be in a room with someone for 2, 3, 8 hours, like, you want them to be, you know, into it. Whereas if I'm putting on, you know, my top 10 metal bands, you know, I don't think they're going to get into the, you know, into the mood, into the mood of the shoot or whatever you're doing. Yeah. So I think that's also a big thing as well. So yeah, the name, you know, having that conversation with them I do ask regularly, you know, what's your good side? But almost like jokingly, you know, so then they say, oh, I don't have a good side, or I don't have a bad side. And then I'll kind of push a bit further to say, oh, well, tell me, because, I'm not going to take photos on the bad side of your face or whatever.
For sure. And in a way, that's something that girls kind of have figured out over guys, because I think, you know, you can laugh at the things that have been typically, let's say, a little bit cringe that girls do. You know, like the old MySpace things, like, you know, the hip and the crazy lean, and, you know, that I've got friends that do this, that when there's a group photo, they literally will they'll grab someone and move them to the other side so they can get on the side that they like. But you know, when you think about it,
why not?
They know what they're doing. Yeah, because they know what their side is. So if it takes 3 seconds to do something and then you're happy with the photo forever, like, girls have kind of got it figured out in that way.
Yeah. But also, I think that's why it's hard. Sometimes I'm like, I can't take a better photo of a girl compared to the way that she'll take a selfie or whatever, because, like, you know, they've obviously done 4,000 clicks and find the right lighting and the right angle and all that, you know, and they've nailed it. Whereas for me, sometimes it's harder to top that, because I'm like, I got to go through that same process, except, you know, I don't know what you like.
Yeah. And you're right. They might have literally taken 200 shots to get that one that they like, that they will then edit the way that they like, to fit their, you know, online persona.
So does that blow your mind to think, do you know Nadar? He was a French portraiture guy, got famous for literally taking window portraits. Like, he had this you know, big window. But anyway, I don't even remember how long ago this was. Maybe this, don't know. No, I'm not going to name anything, because my facts are never right. But anyway, so he used to literally take portraits, but, like, I'm sure this is like, you know, when film was first around, I feel like he wouldn't have had that many goes at it. You know, it's not like he's sitting there taking 100 shots. You know, so it's pretty crazy to think how good those images are with just 1 or maybe 2 shots.
Well, I don't know. Do you think film is a bit more forgiving? Because I think as photographers, in a way, we find something that's not perfect. We find it more attractive to look at. And, you know, we're talking about the girl who takes 200 selfies to find that one banger that she loves. But, you know, if that was our camera, we might like a photo that they wouldn't like. And again, there's no way to know unless you're both on the same page, unless you're both looking through them and you're talking about it. There's no way that you could know that, because a photo that I would choose of someone that I thought was a cool photo might not necessarily be their best angle. And to be honest, I think that's the most freeing thing about shooting personal work, is that you can put out those ones that aren't always the 100%, you know, that the client is happy with.
For
because
sure.
there's a every week it's my job to butcher a quote, so here's my butchered quote for the week. A camel is a horse designed by a committee. So basically what that's saying is one person's vision is more pure than 10 people all giving input on the same project.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To put out a photo that you love it's a more pure piece of art. You know, it's something that you're going to get more enjoyment out of than if you have a client, a marketing manager, a social media girl, and the talent over your shoulder, and then you have to pick someone that makes everyone happy. Yeah. I like that
which is why the director's cut is usually more interesting, because it's
interesting.
It's scenes, or, you know, even work that I do now, you know, a bunch of the video work we do. I then go, you know, after the project's complete and posted or whatever, then, you know, I can go back and cut a 1 minute banger of all the stuff that I liked, you know, and it doesn't have to be to spec, doesn't have to be to anything, but, you know, I feel, you know, I'll post it more because it's edited the way that I like or whatever.
It's what you saw when you were shooting it, maybe, or what you felt when you were shooting it. Yeah. Yeah. It's a more pure vision. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that you said the music thing, because that's something that I hadn't thought of actively, but I think the shoot environment and the set environment plays a big role. One thing that I can definitely add to that is the safety and the privacy that you feel on set. Have you ever been in a situation where you have to take someone's photo and then other people come to watch over your shoulder, and the person in front of the camera just freezes up a little bit?
Well, yeah, when we're shooting Warriors, you know, it's like each player would be, you know, having their go for 10 minutes, and then the whole team will be watching. So I feel like maybe we didn't get as much as we could have. So then the next day when we had Broncos, I was like, all you guys who aren't getting your photos, go in the shed, just get out of it. Like, because and that's the thing, that they would kind of joke with each other or almost mock each other or record each other, you know, on Snapchat or whatever. And I'm like, you idiot. You're going to be here next. So I don't know I just don't get what's so funny about it when it's like, you're going to be doing the exact same thing. So if everyone's out of the room, the model and the photographer can actually, you know, achieve what they need to. And especially, you know, there's a lot of time constraints usually. You don't usually rock up to a photo shoot. It's like an endless amount of time.
Yeah.
So the quicker you get it done, the quicker, you know, they're not going to be embarrassed or whatever it is about what they're doing. You know, they're just going to be in the zone, out of the shoot. See you later, go home.
Just on that sort of like, you know, safety, the general feeling of safety on that sort of vibe, one thing that I will often say, particularly if I'm one-on-one with the person, is, you know, we were getting at earlier, we're both on the same page. We both want an excellent result here. But one thing that I will actually, you know, verbally say is, the best thing about this is you get to pick the photos that you like, and no one will ever see the others. So there's literally no reason to not try, you know, to not give it your all. Even if something that I ask you to do feels a little bit silly, even if, you know, leaning forward, tilting your head, twisting your shoulders, whatever, even if it feels unnatural, there's no point holding back, because you can see it if someone's holding back. So if you at least give it a crack, if it doesn't turn out, no one is ever going to see the photos. That's something important that I just thought of as well.
Yeah, for me, everyone sees the photos, because usually just say for the fashion stuff that I do, I don't curate the images or nothing. It's just like the client wants every single image that was taken, because it needs to be out the door like bloody half an hour after I shoot. So there's no time for me to look at. So there's going to be like eyes half closed, all that stuff. So I don't have the ability to say that to the model. It's just like, I'm like, don't look at them.
Is it a little bit different though, because well, no one's going to put out a photo of someone's eyes half closed,
except for Channel 7 cricket, like
really
last month. Yeah, it was hectic. It was an image of Boland, who
Scott Boland.
Literally, so he got the call up whatever last minute.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know where he's from, Melbourne or I don't know, somewhere,
went to
right?
high school actually. Yeah, he's a mate's older brother. Yeah.
Yeah, so he must have got the call up. They literally took a photo of him, and it went up as his like player shot, and then Peter Hellier, the comedian in Australia, he just roasted it on Twitter or whatever, saying, "Oh my God, like how could it have gone from someone shot this photo to delivered it to the graphics person mocked it up and then put it online for Australia, like when it's his literally debut." Yeah, it was crazy. It went viral, and then everyone was messaging me, being like, "Oh, is this your photo?" And I'm like, "Nah. Our photos were the good ones that we shot for Fox,
yeah,
Channel 7 or Channel 9. Yeah, screwed those up. So I don't even know. It'd be interesting to see who the photographer was, or whatever happened there. It was a big error. I mean, stuff happens like that all the time. There's been literally a design. Where this company in Brisbane did this like big billboard thing on the side of a bus, and like just internally they were just drawing genitalia or whatever within the design to be like back and forth with their mates, and then it ended up like somehow getting missed, and then next minute it's on the side of a bus. So it's like not everything is always checked, and especially in this day and age when it's like stuff just needs to go online straight away, but Boland had an unfortunate photo where his like eyes are half blinked or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know how it gets to like be a national.
That's just unacceptable. Learn and use someone's name. Pick a side together if you have time. You don't always. Create a great environment. Whether that's the music. One other thing I was going to say was one of the best things we did at our studio at work is we got this big sheer curtain that you can just wrap around the studio, and it just blocks it off from the rest of the building. And it made such a difference. But create a safe environment and a happy, uplifting environment. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's all you need, to be able to get the best out of a person, I would say. I feel like they say a lot of the time as well, it was something that I'd learnt when I was younger in a professional environment, was to, not talk about, politics or beliefs or, just subjects that probably people can differ from and have strong opinions on, you know what I mean? So you can talk about the sport, you can talk about TV shows, you can talk about what celebrities or whatever it is, but I don't think that you need to incorporate personal beliefs and stuff like that, because I feel like that's when that environment just goes to shit.
Mate, now more than ever, if there's one thing that the last since 2020 that we've learnt, is that you don't need to have the same beliefs as someone to still get along with them, right? There's I'm sure we've both had very outspoken friends on every which way of all of the political arguments that have happened in the last couple of years. And, you know, I've had to unfollow and unfriend a few people because it just gets too much. But at the same time, it's okay to disagree with someone and still be friends with someone. And, it doesn't need to transfer to that environment, particularly if you're trying to, you know, what you're trying to do in that situation, especially if it's a new person or a stranger walking into your studio or whatever. You're trying to find common ground. That's what you're trying to do to break down those walls. Don't set yourself up to fail like that. All right, that's pretty good. I think we'll leave it there. We'll keep it short and sweet, this one. Have you got a tool of the week?
Yeah, I do. I finally have something prepared. No.
Yeah, okay.
So this thing is what they call a moment lens filter. I've already discussed the other, like the blue flare or cine flare. I don't know what it's called, the other one. But this one is by a brand called Moment. They started off, I think, doing a lot of the mobile kind of lens attachments and stuff like that. So they're pretty cool. Seem like they're a young bunch of people just trying to, you know, create good products. But this one I actually bought for our favorite camera ever, the X100V. So I mean, I don't know, you're not going to see much here, but essentially it's just like, you know, 5% diffusion. I like it. It's got like the little, you know, the outer is red, so it kind of looks cool, matches in with, you know, the black color scheme or whatever your camera. But yeah, so all this does is just creates a diffusion, which makes it just look less digital, and also gets halation around light sources. So that's my favorite thing about, you know, diffusion filters, is that it just creates that halation where it like blooms, and it's just not, it's just, but it's still sharp on the subject, so you're not losing sharpness, but it kind of just lowers the contrast and do like
soft dream feel.
But the light source kind of is like, you know, defragmented or whatever. But yeah, I reckon the only thing with the X100V is you need the lens hood to then be able to screw that to it. So I'm just waiting on that other attachment to use it. But I use these Cine Bloom films, Cine Bloom filters a lot with like a lot of work I do, just because it does just, I don't know, it's just like, I like it. And it's only a 5 or 10%, so you don't really notice it, but it kind of just softens the image enough for me to then be able to also like put a nicer grade on it as well.
Yeah, cool. I was going to ask, actually, I haven't looked too hard into putting a filter on it yet, but I couldn't work out where the thread goes. So I was going to ask, do you need something else to attach it to the front?
It's another
I've
attachment.
Actually been thinking about getting a little polarizer for it, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you shoot wide open, because of the leaf shutter, once you get up in the shutter speeds to around like 3,000, 4,000, the bokeh does some really weird things. It looks soft. It makes the whole image look kind of out of focus a little bit for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
Which is why they have the built-in ND filter. But I was thinking, if I wanted to shoot wide open more, and I wanted to get just, you know, that little bit of blue back in the sky, be fun to try with a polarizer or something. Do you know, does that, I know you said it's only a 5%, do you know, do you lose much light?
No, not on these. Like, it would be barely noticeable. Yeah. If you're at 20, if you use the 20% filter, then maybe it's like a quarter of a stop, maybe. But again, I feel if once you start going to the 20% or, you know, a half or full stop, then it's a very strong filter. Yeah. Which cool. Is too stylized for what I want to use it for. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Beautiful. My tool of the week, I did so much research and spent so much time to buy my Herman Miller Aeron chair, which I've absolutely loved. It's had a big impact on my life. that now when I go to work and I sit and edit all day at work, I feel miserable and I come home sore and sad. So this week I got a Herman Miller Mirra chair, which is like a little bit of a lower model, second hand again. I got a really good deal for it, and I actually have to say it does feel, it's maybe not quite as sturdy. The Aeron's like a freaking throne, you know. It's a big like, you know, heavy but very good ergonomic chair. I've got the mirror that I'm sitting on now, and it's a little bit lighter, but I actually reckon it's even more comfortable. So that's going to be, I'm going to take that to the office and leave it in there, and hopefully have a few less headaches and a few less neck and shoulder issues coming home. So that's something I'm really enjoying this week. I've actually just been testing it here, trying to work out which one to keep here, which one to take. But the Herman Miller Mirra, I'll add the link to the description below, and you can check it out if you want to. All right, mate, thank you so much for joining me again. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll do it again next week.
Great. Thanks, mate.